Hey everyone, Metagross Freak here with a Transformers review of the Last Night Autobot Hound. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for about a month, but I have not been able to find this figure. In fact, today, the day I got this figure, it took me 3 hours and looking at 8 different stores before I could finally find him. So, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. At time of release, it cost $29.99 at a Toys R Us that I got it at. And this Hound is a different mold than the Hound from Age of Extinction. As you can see on the box, we have a nice artwork of Hound with his big miniguns. That artwork again on the side, and he is the Autobots munitions expert, so he's basically taking on the role of Ironhide. On the back we see advertisement for Leader Class Megatron, and here of course we have Hound's 2 modes. He has 4 guns, unlike the previous Voyager Hound, which had like a million guns. He has 2 guns, 2 of which are the Gatling guns, which you can see on his shoulders there, and he has 2 of these like rifle launchers, and he turns into a weapons, like a munitions truck or a weapons transport truck. I like him. There apparently was an issue with some Hounds having their arms backwards or something. I don't know. It was an issue. I'm really hoping this one doesn't have that issue, because he looks cool. He's very military green, very bullet beard. Well, let's get into it and get started. Here is Hound. As you can see, he is, well, almost, he's a thumbs up tall. For comparison, here he is next to Warrior Class Strong Arm. As you can see, she goes up to kind of the bottom of his shoulders. It's a very nice figure. I do like it. It comes with 5, actually technically 6 accessories. The first of which is kind of like this. I don't know, it reminds me a little bit of the front of a ATV or a jet ski, but this is actually his backpack, and it attaches to a 5mm port on his back, and you can attach all 4 of his guns. He comes with 2 Gatling guns, which vaguely resemble the weapons on the front, and if I can get it to focus, you can see that there actually are 3 barrels inside, and these come with little pegs on the sides for plugging them into various places, but they're kind of designed to go either in his hands or on the back, but you'll notice they don't plug in because there are posts here. However, we do have these 2 other guns. These are kind of rocket launcher rifles. Of course, these come with, again, 5mm posts to plug in, but they also have post holes for you to attach to a variety of different places. You can get all kinds of different poses with him. For example, here I have him holding the 2 Gatling guns in his hands, but if you want, you can stack them. You know, something like this. So now you have a double-barrel Gatling gun, for example. You can also store the guns on his back, but when they're on his back, they can rotate around if they are plugged in correctly. If you do it kind of correctly, I think I did mine incorrectly, but if you do it correctly, you can have kind of Blastoise cannons on his shoulders. For some reason, mine isn't angling directly over, but maybe I just assembled it wrong. When all 4 guns are put on the backpack piece, you have this massive hand cannon, which he can hold. You know, he is capable of holding that, but just keep in mind, it looks a little ridiculous. Though this is basically how the guns are stored on his vehicle mode, and is basically the backpack mode. Of course, how the weapons how you display the weapons is up to you. Personally, I kind of like having them just the Gatling gun as the handle with the launcher on the side, so you can hold them like this. And as you're probably seeing, the one major downside with this figure is that it has a bit of a balance issue. There we go. There, that looks cool. That looks cool. Very Rambo-esque. I did mention, so those are the 5 accessories. I did earlier say there were 6, and that's because the helmet is supposed to pop off. There we go. So the helmet just has 2 little pegs inside. The helmet can come off, and you can actually, he actually has a fairly decent sculpt for the head and the forehead, even though the helmet is removable. But you have to be careful not to take it off and put it on too many times, or else it'll eventually start to get loose. So this is actually my second time filming this particular section, because I filmed for about 8 minutes and then I realized that for some reason, even though it said it was recording up in the top corner, it didn't save the recording. So let me do this again. This is the pose I really like, this kind of gun-zerking pose. If you've played Borderlands 2 or have seen me play Borderlands 2, you maybe recognize this kind of the reminiscence to Salvador, the gun-zerker. And you may be noticing that I have a chip on my nail. Transformation, it can be a little difficult. But a really important thing is that you take the rocket pods on his arms and you have to force them back. And it was the action of forcing it back that actually chipped my nail. But that is how you get the arms to bend. If you move them forward, if they pop forward, it becomes almost impossible to bend the elbows, which is ironic because it's a double elbow. There are 2 hinge joints. And with these rocket pods, none of them really work. So, other posability is swivels. Lots of swivels. Head is on a ball joint, though it's kind of tight because of the robot mode kibble. A little bit of a swivel in the waist. Not a lot, though, because of this panel in the back, which, by the way, that panel isn't even really necessary. The fanny pack piece does flip up, though I don't know why, because it's not necessary for the transformation. And it isn't even used in the transformation, though the legs are on a double swivel, so you can go forward and backward, out and in. Knee is very tight and you can't really get a great pose because of the vehicle mode kibble on the back. Though having it at a little bit of an angle does help with posing. Unfortunately, the figure is very top heavy, and the ankle articulation, despite being really cool because, you know, all that's really cool, and it's a nice little ratchet you can hear, he falls over easily. You know, here he is standing up straight and he's leaning back. If you want to get him to balance, you have to basically straighten out his legs so he's leaning forward. As you can see, he is, you know, he is leaning forward, and that is how he's able to balance. So unfortunately, all the posability in his legs is basically useless. Another oddity is I'm not sure if it's all figures or if it's just my figure, but my figure doesn't have an Autobot symbol. There's no Autobot symbol on the torso, or, you know, the shins, or his back, or his shoulders, or his helmet, which, let's be honest, that would be the perfect place for an Autobot symbol. He doesn't have one there, which is weird, and he doesn't have one in vehicle mode either, which I will show in just a second. Here, Hound is in vehicle mode. He is I believe he's a Mercedes-Benz transport truck. Rolls very well, especially considering you have to remember that the 2 front wheels are his feet. Rolls very well. You have to fold in those little rocket pods, which, by the way, are hidden underneath his fanny pack. Let me flip that up. You can see that those are hidden, but if you do not snap them into the right place, they will prevent you from transporting it. In the instructions, there are step 17 and 18, which basically are turning the arms into the side panels, and the hood piece here is arguably the most difficult part of the transformation, but everything else is pretty easy. I only transformed it back, I went to one way and then back once, and I'd already memorized it. All four weapons combined turn into basically a back for the vehicle, like so. So it looks kind of like a covered transport. You can do that, or you can angle them up a bit for like a gun emplacement or a turret. Though I think if you're going to use them as a turret, you might as well flip them out more, like that. But you can see you have basically kind of either 2 large machine guns and then 2 small Gatling guns, or 4 rocket pods and then 2 Gatling guns. Whatever kind of design you want that to be. There's also 5mm posts on the back, so technically you can attach the guns to the sides, like so, but it looks really silly to have them just hanging off the side. Like I mentioned before, with the robot mode, there is no visible Autobot symbol. The only symbols there are 8 Decepticon symbols with marks going through them on each side, which means he's either killed 8 Decepticons or 16. Not really clear on that, but that is really cool. Unfortunately, the grill and the Mercedes-Benz do not have symbol. I don't have any paint there. I really wish that would have just had like a little drip of silver. But yeah, there is no Autobot symbol anywhere. As you can see there, nothing there. And honestly, this plate, the one that's kind of a little restrictive, you could probably sand that down or trim that down if you really wanted to. But yeah, as you can see, there is no visible Autobot symbol. So other than the 16 crossed out, you can definitely see, I know it's hard to see with my camera, but you can definitely tell they're crossed out when you look at them with your eyes. There's no visible Autobot symbol, which is bizarre. But I think this is a really great vehicle. It's kind of a pain to get to, but it's a great vehicle. I really say, other than the difficulty in step 17, 18 during transformation, and the fact that there's no Autobot symbol on either mode, I think the biggest issue is the balance. If you're able to get Hound to balance, he's a great figure. If you're having trouble with balancing him, though, he's a bit of a bear. For comparison, here he is next to Voyager Prime. Sorry, I forgot to compare them. Voyager Prime from the last night. Sorry about that. Yeah, there they are in comparison. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Until next time, I've been your friendly neighborhood Metagross freak. And have a great night, everyone. Bye.